Now run, activity, and space. That sums up what we have lined up for you in today's episode of the Car Diary. Of course, taking up the airwaves right here on Younib TV, the best youth television network in East and Central Africa. Remember to follow us across all our social media platforms at Younib Media TV on Facebook and on YouTube, and at Younib_TV on Instagram. You can as well follow the Conversation Professor on his social media platforms at _Albakwekwe on Instagram and at Alfonso Albakwekwe on Facebook. Now, today's episode of the Car Diary is sponsored by Stancam Motors, where quality meets affordability. At Stancam Motors, you come walking and you leave driving. Now, with that said, let's roll. Now today we are going to do a review of the 2012 Toyota RACTIS, the one which we have at my back. So I want us to go and do a review and see what it has to offer. So when we began the show, I mentioned three words: run, activity, and space, which was derived from the Toyota RACTIS. Actually, this car got its name from those three words. Now, as usual, before we begin, I usually take you back to where it all began. Now, this car made its first debut in the year 2005 as the successor of the Yaris Veso, or the popularly known Fan Cargo. So when the Fan Cargo wanted to do a transition to maybe bring a more comfortable car and a spacious car, they talked to a Japanese engineer known as Takanori Tsubaki together with other two friends, and I want you to go to our socials and tell us those two friends who engineered the Toyota RACTIS design with Takanori Tsubaki, and when you get it right, we'll give you a shout out in the next episode. Now that aside, so Takanori Tsubaki with those two friends engineered the Toyota RACTIS. It has since been produced in two generations. The first generation, which was produced from the year 2004 all the way to November 2010, it was known as the NCP 100. And then the second generation commenced its production in the same year, November 2010, and ended its production in the year 2016. The second generation was known as the NCP 120. So in 2016, they made the last production of the Toyota RACTIS, and it was succeeded by the Toyota Rumi. Other people also arguably say that it was succeeded by the Toyota Sienta. So you can as well tell us, who do you think, or which car do you think succeeded the Toyota RACTIS after the second generation? It could be the Toyota Sienta or the Toyota Rumi. What are your opinions on that? Make sure you comment on our socials. Now I want us to get to the in-depth review of the Toyota RACTIS and see what it has to offer. And to start us off, we are going to start with the anterior profile. So come and let's do this together. So when we come to the engine of this car, you will notice this badge right here, the 1NZFE. So this one means that this car comes with a 1.5 liter engine. It is a 1500cc. Yeah, so again, it is a CVT, continuous variation transmission engine, and the CVT engines are known to be very delicate. So when you have this car, you make sure you maintain the engine properly. Don't wash with a lot of pressure, and maintain this car with the recommended oils, engine oils, and do the service on time for you to make sure that your engine doesn't die. Yeah, so that is what the engine has to offer. Now, the very first feature you are going to notice at the anterior profile of this RACTIS is the Toyota logo centrally placed in between the two headlights, which is a pretty good feature. Will make you know that this car is from Japan, you know. And also we have this opening right here and the opening right here, which enhances the air cooling system in the engine. So actually air gets into the carburetor through these two openings that we have right here. Also on the anterior profile, you are going to notice we have headlights on this side and one on the farthest end. And I believe all of us know why we have headlights on cars. It's basically for geyser. Unless you don't like light, you won't prefer your car having the headlights. Yeah, so on the headlights, it's synchronized together with the indicator lights inside the headlights. So like the one I have here, this side we have the headlights, and then this small segment here, the indicator lights are located inside here. So I want us now to move and look at the side profile of the Toyota RACTIS and also see what it has. Let's go. So when we come to the side profile, the first thing you're going to notice is this highly defined character line that runs all the way from the front fender blister all the way to the middle tail light element right here, which is a pretty good feature for this car. We also have the side mirror, which comes with the indicator lights as well. And in our first episode when we were doing a review of the Volkswagen, I told you the reason why we have the indicator lights on the side mirror. So by now I believe you took notes of the conversation, Professor. When we leave that, we also have these pencil thin gaps in between the body panels of this car. We have the first one right here, we have another one in the middle, and one at the farthest end, which indicates a good quality of craftsmanship when it comes to this car. I must say Takanori did a good job with his two friends, you know. Yeah. Also when we come to now the tires of this car, it comes with 15-inch steel rims covered with plastic. So this one does not come with the alloy rims, you know. Yeah, and then also I want us to look at the ground clearance of this car. We said in our previous episode that the ground clearance refers to the space in between the ground and the body panel, or you can as well call it the suspension. So for the Toyota RACTIS, it is 5.7 inches, which is still below the recommended ground clearance for some of the Kenyan roads. So this car may find it difficult to maneuver some bumps on our Kenyan roads, you know. Yeah, and also another thing that I want to show you on the side profile, we have the doorknobs on the doors which you use to open the doors of this car. So these ones are pretty good. They are spacious enough. If you have extra large fingers, you are favored in this car, you know. Yeah, so with that said, I want us to go and look at the rear profile of this car, and then later on we are going to look at the interior profile and see what it has to offer as well. So when we come to the rear profile of the Toyota RACTIS, we have the Toyota RACTIS, we have the RACTIS badge. And when we began, I told you RACTIS was derived from 3 words. So we have the R, which stands for run, we have the ACTI, which stands for activity, and we have the S, which stands for space. And I'll tell you why the space element was actually featured in this car. Yeah, also another thing that we have at the rear profile of this car, we have the brake lights synchronized together with the indicator lights, which is pretty good feature for this car. You know, some cars come with the brake lights separately placed with the indicator lights, but this one comes with the brake lights synchronized together with the indicator lights. Also, when you come hapa chini kidogo, we still have another indicator lights right here, which is good for somebody who is driving at close proximity. They'll be in a position to note this. And then inside the indicator lights, it's also synchronized with the reflector brake lights. We talked about this in our previous episode when we were doing the review of the Volkswagen series, and we explained why we have the reflector brake lights. Another thing, at the rear profile, you also have the Toyota logo. So when this car is driving in front of you, you see the Toyota logo, you see the RACTIS, you will actually be in a position to tell that in front of you is a Toyota RACTIS and not a Subaru Trezia, because they have the same model with the Subaru Trezia. The difference only comes in the engine and maybe the badges. The other things remain the same, the shape and all that stuff. Also on the rear profile, we have the wiper for the rear mirror, which you can always use when your mirror is dirty or when you want to remove mist, especially when there is mist like today on this cold weather. Yeah, so with that said, I want us to take a short break. When we come back, we are going to do the interior review of the 2010 Toyota RACTIS and talk about the legroom, we talk about the storage cabin, we see how the dashboard looks like, and many more. So don't move, keep it right here. The best is yet to come. Welcome back. You are still watching the Car Diary with the automobile mogul himself, the conversation professor, Alfonso Albakwekwe. Now, before we went on a break, I promised you that when we come back, we are going to get into the interior review of the Toyota RACTIS. And without further ado, let's do that. Now we are inside the 2012 Toyota RACTIS, and when you get inside here, I tell you the ambience is pretty good. Many thanks to the sophisticated color schemes that we have right here. As you can see, we have it synchronized in black and cream color, so ukiingia hapa ndani you feel very nice. It's pretty good. I want us to start with this segment right here, where you have the speedometer. We have the revolutions per minute gauge, which is also known as the RPM, and we have the fuel gauge. So this one is the speedometer, which shows you at what speed you are cruising at, and then on my left you have the RPM, revolutions per minute, which tells you how many revolutions per minute is your tire going based on the speed that you are driving at. On my right we have the fuel gauge, which also shows you the level of fuel as you drive. So always make sure that as you drive, you always want to concentrate on this segment, because nearly all the information you need for your car are displayed at this particular point. That aside, now we come to the steering. When you look at this steering, it's actually a sporty steering. Look at this segment right here. So it is not circular, all of it. Hapa chini ni flat kidogo, which gives it that sporty taste, you know. Yeah, and at the middle of the steering we have the Toyota logo, which is an outstanding feature in nearly all Toyota vehicles, and even other brands. They usually put their logos on the steering wheel. On the steering wheel, you are also going to notice that we have some control buttons right here with us. We have the mode, which especially controls the infotainment system, which you see from the infotainment screen. And then we have this button, which is for the volume down, and this other one for the volume up. So you can control the volume of the music or the radio from the steering wheel. Sounds good, right? Very nice. So that is how simple the steering wheel is. I love the sporty feature. Look at this, these grips, you know, this makes it pretty good for you to drive this car. Now that aside as well, I want us now to shift focus to the infotainment system. So this one comes with the screen that you are seeing right here. So all your infotainment system and the information you need will be displayed right here on this screen. And then beneath the infotainment system we have the climate control, where we have the air conditioner. So this is the AC button. So when you press this, you turn on the air conditioner, then you can enhance the temperature of the car. So this one you enhance the temperature, and this one you decrease the temperature. So when it's too cold, like right now, you will enhance the temperature of the car using this one, and when it's too hot, you can also decrease the temperature with this one as well. Also, another thing that you are going to notice on the climate control section, we have these two buttons right here, and I explained these signs in the previous episodes. So this one is for the anterior defrost, or the windscreen defrost when there is mist, or when you are driving and there is fog. You can defrost the windscreen to enhance clarity. We also have the one below this one, which stands for the rear window defrost, ile ya huko nyuma kabisa. So you can defrost that with this button right here. Another thing that we have right here is this button. There is somebody sitting right here, and there are two buttons pointing at this person. One is pointing towards the face, another one is pointing towards the knees. So this means when you press this button, the air circulation is going to be uniformly spread. So atasikia vizuri from all angles akiwa hapa ndani. We also have this other button, which stands for recirculation. So that means hewa huku ndani itakuwa ina circulate uniformly as well when you press this button. And then there is the auto button labeled auto, which controls the temperature of this car automatically. So it senses when the temperature is too high, it reduces the temperature. When it's too low, it also enhances the temperature to match what is recommended for a weather on a particular day, maybe when you are driving, you know. Yeah, so with that said, I want us to move down now and come to the gear shifters. So we have the gear lever right here, and these signs which we know, we have the parking, we have the reverse gear, the neutral, and the drive. Also, this car you can drive it in manual mode if you wish to. There is an option for that. We have this M. So when you are driving at manual, when you shift the paddle shifter towards the upper direction, you are adding the gears, and when you shift it towards the lower direction, you are reducing the gears. So that is a good feature for this car. You can drive it either in automatic mode or in the manual mode. Yeah. Now I want us to look at the legroom, and then we check at the cabin storage, and we get to the back as well and see if it offers sufficient legroom for the passengers at the back. So when we come to the legroom of this car, it comes with sufficient legroom for both the driver and the passengers. It actually comes with the retracted seats, so you can retract the seat to the back if you feel you don't have sufficient legroom for the driver. If you feel it's too big, you can retract it towards the front like that. Yeah, and you'll be good to go. Pretty good feature for that. The same happens on the co-driver's seat. You can enhance the legroom if you feel it's insufficient for you when you are seated at the co-driver's seat. Now we are going at the back and look at that, but before we go there, I want us to finish with what we have right here. Let us talk about the cabin storage. So the Toyota RACTIS comes with 4 cup storage spaces that we have right here. I believe you are seeing that we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 where you can put your water bottles or the coffee cups if you have one. Apart from that, we also have another storage space right here on the door where you can put your bottle. You can throw your phones right here, or even your tablet if you have one. Yeah, so it comes with sufficient storage space for you. So let's go to the back and see what it has to offer in terms of legroom and storage space. Yeah, legroom ya hapa nyuma pretty good. Look at that, very spacious. And now this is where the S element comes in when we were talking about the run, activity and space. I believe now you are in a position to acknowledge the fact that this car is very spacious. Look at this legroom, comfortable enough for long distance travels, as you can see, you know, and it accommodates 3 people hapa nyuma. So we have passenger 1, passenger 2, and finally the last passenger, and they have sufficient legroom. So it's pretty good for long distance and for family. So kama wewe ni mtu unataka kuingia kwa kasi and you are basically maybe working on a budget of around 600-700,000 shillings, this car is for you. Sawa sawa, very nice. So let us look at the boot space and see what it has to offer. I believe we are going to get surprised there as well. 20. Now let us see the boot space of this car. So this car comes with a boot space storage capacity of 429 liters. It is arguably the car with the biggest boot space. Kwa hizi gari ndogo ndogo, they refer to them as kadudu. So this one comes with a boot space storage 429 liters, which is pretty good. Look at this, it can carry boom. There you go. So inaweza beba watu kama mimi tukiwa 46 hivi. It can accommodate 46 people with a body size like mine. That's a lie, don't try that. But the boot space, it is pretty good, and you can as well enhance your boot space by retracting the rear seats. Now look at what I'm going to do right here to enhance our boot space. And there you go. So unaweza beba gunia ya mahindi, ya makaa, whatever it is you want to carry. It depends with the size of the luggage you have. So the boot space can be enhanced just as we have done, and you can see for yourselves it is spacious enough. So the space element that was included in the naming of this car was actually very, very critical, and I think that could be the reason they decided to put the space element in the naming. So with that said, that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Car Diary. So this has been the Car Diary with the conversation professor himself, the automobile mogul Alfonso Albuquerque. Make sure you follow us on our social media platforms at Younib Media TV on Facebook and YouTube, and at Younib_TV on Instagram. Also do follow me on my social media platforms at Alfonso Albuquerque on Facebook and at _Albuquerque on Instagram. See you next Saturday, same time, same place. Bye.